Hello and welcome. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali, bringing you the updates from Bihar first. Well, the figures are in front of you. 125 for the NDA alliance, getting a clear majority to retain power in the state of Bihar. And of course, the Mahagathbandhan reduced to 110 seats. But the big story lies somewhere around the parties like LJP and AIMIM that has made huge dent and damage to the major alliances. And if we look at the prospects of JDU could have been much better if LJP was not in fray in that many seats. So JDU has been reduced to 43 seats. BJP leaders, in fact, will meet at party headquarters in Patna at around 4 p.m. today. And after giving a tough competition, Mahagathbandhan, led by RJD's Tejashwi Yadav, fell short of the winning margin, getting 110 seats. However, it has managed to emerge as the single largest party, securing the highest vote share by any party in this election. So those are some of the celebration visuals on your screens. Asaduddin Owaisi's AIMIM got lucky in its third attempt in Bihar polls after bagging 5 seats in the Seemanchal region. In fact, AIMIM has emerged as a vote cutter for the Mahagathbandhan. Many of these seats that the Asaduddin's party has won used to be the bastions of the RJD. Now, this is one big takeaway from this election, where the AIMIM has managed to get as many as 5 seats. Owaisi's party has struck the right chord with voters of this region. Let's bring you some reactions that we are getting. First, let's listen in to Asaduddin Owaisi's statement after the results. Okay, we have Sanjay Jaiswal, Bihar Chief's bite, coming in as well. My colleague Ayushman earlier spoke to him. Let's listen into what he has to say on the further developments from here on.
How do you see this mandate which you have got? It was all across Tejashwi Yadav, Berozgari, youth being talked about. How do you see this? Prime Minister has written a letter to the women voters for turning out in large numbers.
People believe what you have done in your past. People have seen what kind of administration RJD has given for Bihar. People were thinking that what he is telling about 10 lakh jobs and what work he has done. He was minister in charge for 12 departments. He didn't give job to one single person. His government is part in Jharkhand also. He is a part of the government in Jharkhand. You have given only 8,000 jobs in a year. Your government is part in, Congress is a part in Punjab. In Punjab, you have given 16,000 jobs. So you cannot get success every time telling lie. You have done that successfully in Chhattisgarh.
We have seen the BJP's number above 70 and the JDU below 50. Still the Chief Minister will be Nitish Kumar?
Yes, there's no question about it. See, we have fought in coalition. It was already decided that Nitish ji will be our Chief Minister. So this is not a question for debate.
What is the role that the LJP will have? Will there be a candidate in the cabinet there from their side also?
See, LJP is our opposition in Bihar. They have tried to sabotage NDA. There's no doubt about it. And so there's no question that he will be anywhere in Bihar with us. And NDA is coalition of 4 people. Jitan Ram Majhi ji, Mukesh Sahni ji is part of our coalition. And we all 4 will together form the government. What has happened is not due to Chirag Paswan. What has happened is because there were so many issues, and we as a party, we did our best, but there were so much false promises made by our opposition that has definitely affected.
Well, though Chirag Paswan's LJP won just one seat, but the damage that it has done to the prospects of the likes of JDU is immense. And that has, of course, shaped the overall outcomes, to say the least. The party has improved its vote share from 4.8% to 5.7% this year, and it has damaged JDU's chances to the tune of 33 seats. Yes, as per the calculations done after the results, it appears that had it not been for LJP, JDU could have improved its tally by around 33 seats. LJP chief Chirag Paswan briefed the media a short while ago and said that he has achieved his goal, which was indeed to reduce the numbers gained by JDU and to boost the BJP seats. Let's listen in.
देखिए तो आंकड़े ही आपको बता रहे हैं कि जदयू को नुकसान करने में लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी कितनी सफल हुई है। ये बात छुपी तो है नहीं। देखिए बेस्ट पार्ट तो यही है ना इलेक्टोरल पॉलिटिक्स की कि सारे आंकड़े जनता के सामने होते हैं। आप खुद ही निकाल के देख लीजिए कि कितनी सीटें हैं जो जनता दल यूनाइटेड लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी की वजह से हारी और कितनी सीटें वो और जीत सकते थे अगर लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी अगर उस अलायंस के साथ रहती। इस बात को तो मैंने झुटलाया। मैं तो शुरू से मैं बोलता हूँ कि मौजूदा मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी को नुकसान मुझे पहुंचाना था। मैं नहीं मानता कि उनके पास विकास की सोच थी। कल नतीजे सामने आए हैं, जिस तरीके से कल परिणाम सामने आए हैं, एक बात उन परिणामों ने स्पष्ट कर दी है कि बिहार की जनता ने बहुत ही डिसाइसिव एक क्लियर मैंडेट हमारे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को दिया। जो बेहतरीन प्रदर्शन भाजपा का रहा उसके वो हकदार भी थे और इसीलिए मैंने भी बार बार कहा था, मैं चाहता था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का प्रदर्शन बेहतरीन रहे। लगभग 6% के आसपास जिस तरीके से लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी को मत प्रतिशत मिला और अकेले लड़ने पर मिला।
My colleague Tanima Bishwas now joins us from the Mumbai newsroom. Tanima, this is one of the important takeaways from this entire election, that LJP has in some way, as its leader claims, tried to show its power and influence not by the number of seats that it has secured, but by way of the damage that it is capable of doing. And we heard Chirag Paswan just now claiming just that. But if you can take us through or break it down for us, how exactly has the LJP dented the chances of JDU?
Right, and we are going to tell that story in terms of the numbers that we have seen coming out from this Bihar elections. You heard there Chirag Paswan talking about the fact that he had a clear target, a clear agenda, that he is going to dent and eat into the votes of JDU, but he wanted to strengthen BJP. So how exactly did LJP manage to do that for with JDU? We have over here 3 sets of numbers for you. These are some of the constituencies that we have identified in terms of where the LJP has been able to eat the vote share of JDU. So if you see that over here, these are the figures, these are the final votes which RJD managed to rake up, the RJD candidate managed to rake up and win in the elections. And these are the votes that LJP managed to get. Now, why is this important? Because in all these cases, what you can see that RJD won primarily by beating the JDU candidate, and had where the margin, the difference of the votes was very minimal. Over here, it's 3,000, it's 8,000 votes. It's in these 2 cases, of course, it's staggering, like 38,000 votes difference and 16,000 votes difference. But in all these cases, what you can see is the fact that it is primarily the LJP which has eaten into the votes which would have traditionally gone to JDU. These are some of the seats in which JDU normally does well. But because the LJP has managed to get a large number of votes in these cases, because of that reason, JDU has lost out in all these constituencies to the RJD with this kind of difference in votes. So as we know, the counting was slow yesterday. It took a lot of time to actually come up with the final tally, but and there was a small margin of difference between the winner and the person who came second in most of these cases. But here you can see it's primarily because of the middle column over here, what LJP managed to do in terms of eating JDU's vote share, which is the reason why JDU has lost all these constituencies over here. And there are 33 assembly seats primarily in which LJP has eaten into JDU's vote share, and which is the reason why we have seen the results which have come up now, that 43 seats is all that JDU managed to rake up, and that has led them to become the junior partner in the NDA as far as Bihar is concerned.
Yes, and on the flip side, by the same logic, then the LJP has helped the RJD gain a few seats. So they wouldn't have even managed this many had it not been for the LJP. Tanima, thanks for joining us with this interesting perspective. Yes, and in the other side of the spectrum, we are also looking at whether the AIMIM has dented the MGB. And there we find that, yes, Asaduddin Owaisi's party has got third time lucky in Bihar, getting 5 seats in the Simachal region. AIMIM has emerged as a vote cutter again for this Muslim-dominated region, primarily because this used to be the traditional bastion of the RJD. So as many as 5 seats is what the AIMIM has bagged. Owaisi's party has struck the right chord with the voters there, raking up issues like CAA and NRC, and also talking about how the Congress and the RJD has let the community down. The AIMIM has boosted the NDA's vote share, exactly the same logic that how the LJP has boosted the MGB. So Tanima will explain this as well to us so that we deep dive into the figures and get a clear picture why we have drawn these conclusions. Tanima, again, I want to come to you for this story as well, because this is the other story coming out of this election. The emergence of AIMIM in Bihar to get as many as 5 seats. If I check the vote percentage correctly, they've barely got over 1% votes, but that has translated into 5 seats.
Exactly, and that also, as you were mentioning, that the kind of dent that LJP managed to cause as far as JDU is concerned, similar impact that we can see that AIMIM had in terms of what it did to Mahagathbandhan, what it did to the Congress RJD combined. If we pull up this particular graphics and we can show you what situation AIMIM was in 2015, where they contested in 6 seats, won none and only, and of course the strike rate was 0. And when it comes to this year in the elections that we just saw, they contested in 20 seats, 1 in 5, and their strike rate is of course 25%. So that gives you an understanding of how AIMIM has actually come a long way as far as Bihar is concerned. If you go into the following set of graphics that we have prepared, where exactly did they gain the most? Their main gain had in fact been in Simachal, and that is what the next set of graphics will show. It's primarily in Simachal, which is an area known to be the RJD and Congress bastion. So that is the area in which AIMIM has in fact done well, and this is the area in which, if you can see, they have actually beaten the Congress and the RJD by primarily going into the talking about certain issues which they felt that the RJD and Congress had not been talking about. What was their main rhetoric on? Their main rhetoric was basically about CAA and NRC. Those were some of the stuff that they had in fact been talking about. They managed to get 5 seats in Simachal, as we said. And what we saw Mahagathbandhan primarily doing was the fact that they were talking about issues like jobs, migrants crisis. These were the main things that Tejashwi was talking about. Whereas what Asaduddin Owaisi and his party were doing, they essentially said they focused on certain core areas. These are Muslim-dominated areas of Bihar. They said that the MGB wasn't doing much for them. They brought around issues like CA and NRC. That was primarily the issues that their rallies were addressing. And that in turn has, of course, helped them, as we can see, in gathering certain seats in areas which are known to be RJD Congress bastion. And in that case, what we can also see is this in turn has also helped the NDA, because in Simachal, NDA has managed to gain a lot of seats as well, primarily due to counter mobilization that they have done in some of these Muslim-dominated areas. So AIMIM eating into the MGB's share of votes and seats, and that, in other words, has a cascading effect on the fact that NDA stands to actually gain from the in fact gained from the fact that there was a split in terms of the votes that we can see in Simachal.
That's very interesting again, Tanima, and I was looking at those Muslim-dominated seats as well. Out of in this particular region, the NDA has scored the highest with 28 seats in the Simachal region, with the MGB, the Mahagathbandhan, getting 19, and like you just pointed out, Owaisi's party getting 5. In that sense, his strike rate is much better than Chirag Paswan. He contested 137 and got 1. Owaisi contested 20 seats and he's got 5. So 25% strike rate is what AIMIM has managed. Stay with us, Tanima. Just coming back to another point. Now, there are questions raised on the Mahagathbandhan's political strategy. Was too much of the share given to the Congress party? Remember, while the left parties have proved to be an asset for the Mahagathbandhan, getting a healthy figure of 19 seats, the Congress getting only 19 seats, which is way below the total number of seats that they had contested, which is 70. So the question now is, despite winning most number of seats, MGB's total share was dragged down by the dismal performance of the Congress party, which has managed only 19 seats. So Tanima, coming back to you on this as well, if you can explain to us what went wrong with the Congress. It has done even worse than last time, and it has contested 70 seats with a very poor strike rate of managing to get just about 19.
Right. In fact, that is what we are looking at. Whether it was the Congress which actually dragged down the performance of Mahagathbandhan. That has in fact been the popular perception ever since the results started coming out, and it kind of hinted at the fact by mid-morning yesterday that it's going to be NDA all the way. But let's look at what exactly went wrong for the Congress this time around in the Grand Alliance in the Bihar elections. So Congress actually, if we look at, managed to get only 70 seats after a hard bargain with the RJD. So this was in a bit of a compromise that it did, and it wasn't happy with the seats that had in fact been allocated to its candidates finally. In fact, what we can see is that what it did it result into? It resulted into their tally dropping from 27 in 2015 to 19 this time around. It was only 19 seats that Congress managed to rake up this elections, and that in a way pulled down the MGB totally, despite the fact that RJD actually emerged as the single largest party in the Bihar elections. But because of Congress's performance of actually getting only 19 seats, that's the reason why the MGB in total did not do well. And it was Congress primarily is of course hinting back at what we just reported a short while back, that it's the Owaisi factor, it's the AIMIM factor which ate into their vote share, and that is the reason why they did not manage to do well. If we look at the following set of graphics also that we have prepared, what has been the strike rate for Mahagathbandhan this time around? And we have got both years for you, this year's assembly elections and the last one. So RJD had a 52% strike rate in, RJD has a 52% strike rate in this elections, whereas in 2015 it had a higher strike rate of 79.2%, and in 2020, actually, they contested in 144 seats and won in 75. And in 2015, they had contested in 101, managed to win in 80.
Yes.
But this time around, of course, as we know, it's RJD 2.0, which is why they have managed to do well, but still their strike rate had come down. So, and if we look at what Congress's performance has been, in 2015, if we first look at this picture over here, their strike rate was pretty good. It was at 65.8%, contested in 41, won in 27 seats. And if we look at Congress over here, in 2020, their strike rate is dismally low, 27.14%, and they contested in 70 seats and managed to win only 19 seats. So clearly the story over here shows that it has been one of the key factors as to how, despite being so close, despite putting up a spirited performance, Tejashwi Yadav could not really emerge as the person who's victorious in this race, and despite giving initially good numbers, but finally the tally that they managed to get was not enough.
Yes, a good 50 seats out there, which probably the Mahagathbandhan could have had better prospects, but because it was Congress in the fray, those seats could not come the MGB's way. The other underreported story of this entire election are the left parties that have done 5 times better than last time. They had only 3 seats in 2015. That has gone up to 16. So we'll focus on that as well, but leave it at that for now. Tanima, thanks for joining us. Well, let's now in fact talk about another state, the state of Tamil Nadu, where politics has heated up as well with the rift now surfacing between the AIA-DMK and the BJP that has only deepened in the state after the government refused to grant permission for BJP's Vetri Vel Yatra. BJP spokesperson KT Raghavan has accused the AIA-DMK ministers and Chief Minister Edapani Palaniswamy of breaking pandemic rules and asking why no case was filed against them. Shouldn't the rules be the same for everyone? So the BJP's retaliation comes after its state president L. Murugan was detained for his attempts to initiate the Vetri Vel Yatra amid the Tamil Nadu government's ban on processions due to the pandemic.
வேலூர்ல திருப்பதி போறார் முதலமைச்சர் நூற்றுக்கணக்கான அண்ணா திமுக காரங்க இருந்தாங்களே நடவடிக்கை எடுத்ததா காவல்துறை கேஸ் போட்டீங்களா நீங்க கேஸ் போனா முதலமைச்சர் பேர்ல தான் முதல்ல கேஸ் போடணும் இந்த பேண்டமிக்ல கேஸ் இருக்கும்போது அவர் மேல கேஸ் போடுங்க எத்தனை வழக்குகள் அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய அமைச்சர்கள் மீது போடப்பட்டிருக்கிறது நான் கேட்கின்றேன்.
You're watching the latest here on Mirror Now. News and updates continue after a short break. Stay with us and do visit us on our website mirrornownews.com and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Telegram. Thanks for watching.